It was a warm Friday evening at the Sapphire Room, an upscale restaurant nestled in the heart of Austin, Texas. The ambience was vibrant yet refined, with the faint hum of conversations blending harmoniously with the clinking of glasses and the gentle strains of jazz drifting from a grand piano in the corner. The restaurant was a haven for the wealthy, the influential, and those who simply sought an evening of indulgence. Emma, a 25-year-old waitress, moved gracefully between tables, balancing trays of food and flashing polite smiles. To most patrons, she was just another face in a uniform, a part of the backdrop to their lavish dining experience. But inside, Emma carried a dream far greater than the confines of the elegant dining room. Her soul belonged to music. The piano wasn't just an instrument. It was her sanctuary, a place where she could pour out her emotions, her triumphs, and her sorrows. Yet, practicality had forced her to set aside her passion. Working at the Sapphire Room was her way of surviving while holding onto a faint connection to her dreams. The grand piano tucked away in the corner of the restaurant. That evening, as patrons settled into their seats, the heavy wooden doors swung open. A small entourage entered, led by Jackson Montgomery, a prominent entrepreneur known as much for his wealth as for his arrogance. Jackson carried himself with an air of ownership, as if the world bent to his will. His tailored suit, confident stride, and sharp smile were impossible to miss. The waitstaff tensed as they recognized him. Jackson had a reputation for being difficult, a man who thrived on making himself the center of attention, often at the expense of others. Emma was assigned to his table. She approached with her usual calm demeanor, determined to treat him as she would any other guest. But as she placed the menu before him, Jackson's gaze lingered on her, a smirk playing on his lips. "Emma, is it?" he asked, glancing at her name tag. "Tell me, what do you do when you're not carrying trays? Surely, someone like you has some hidden talent." Emma hesitated, unsure how to respond. "I'm just a waitress, sir," she said, her voice steady but cautious. "Oh, come now," Jackson said, leaning back in his chair. "A young woman like you? There's got to be more to the story. Do you sing? Dance? Play an instrument, perhaps?" Emma felt a knot tighten in her stomach. "I play piano," she admitted softly, hoping the admission would end the conversation. Jackson's eyes lit up with a spark of mischief. "A pianist, huh? How fascinating. Well, there's a piano right over there." He gestured toward the grand piano in the corner. "Why don't you give us a little performance?" Emma forced a smile, shaking her head. "I'm just here to work tonight, sir." "Nonsense," Jackson declared, his voice loud enough to draw the attention of nearby diners. "Surely you're not afraid of a little audience. Or—" he paused, letting the words hang in the air. "Maybe it's all talk and no talent." The room seemed to hold its breath. Emma's cheeks burned with embarrassment, and she felt the weight of every gaze on her. She had dealt with difficult customers before, but Jackson's taunts felt calculated, designed to belittle her. In that moment, her mother's words echoed in her mind. "Never let anyone make you feel small, Emma. You are more than they'll ever know." Taking a deep breath, Emma looked Jackson square in the eye. "Fine," she said, her voice steady and deliberate. "I'll play." The room fell into a hushed silence as Emma walked toward the piano. Each step felt heavy, but her resolve grew with every stride. The soft glow of the chandelier above cast a spotlight on her as she sat down on the polished bench. Her fingers hovered above the keys, trembling slightly. She closed her eyes, inhaling deeply to steady herself. The first notes were soft, hesitant, like a whisper testing the waters. But as the melody unfolded, Emma began to pour herself into the music. She had chosen a piece by Chopin, one she knew intimately. The hauntingly beautiful melody spilled into the air, weaving through the room like a spell. With each note, Emma's confidence grew. Her hands moved gracefully across the keys, painting a vivid tapestry of emotion. Her struggles, her sacrifices, her unwavering determination. The restaurant, once buzzing with chatter, had gone completely still. Diners sat motionless, captivated by the unexpected performance. Even Jackson, who had leaned back smugly in his chair, was now sitting upright, his expression unreadable. As the final notes faded into silence, the room remained suspended in awe. Then, as though released from a trance, the diners erupted into applause. The sound was thunderous, filling the space with a warmth Emma hadn't anticipated. Some guests stood, clapping enthusiastically. Her co-workers, who had been watching from a distance, beamed with pride. Emma stood, her hands trembling slightly but her posture confident. She gave a small nod of gratitude to the audience before turning to return to her duties. Jackson remained seated, his smirk replaced by a look of stunned silence. He clapped slowly, almost reluctantly. "Well," he said, his voice lacking its earlier bravado. "That was unexpected." Emma met his gaze, her expression calm and unwavering. "Thank you," she said simply, her tone polite but firm. "Everyone has a gift. It's how you choose to use it that matters." For the rest of the evening, Jackson and his entourage were unusually subdued. The once boisterous energy at their table had been replaced by a quiet awkwardness. As they left, Jackson offered a curt nod to Emma, his confidence seemingly shaken. That night, as Emma walked home under the crisp night sky, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She wasn't just a waitress, and she wasn't just a dreamer. She was an artist, and for the first time in years, she felt like her dreams were within reach.